I was like, what were the truth? What truth did you guys discover?
The untold truth. Remember, over time, truth has been subjective. In very rare occasions, is truth objective. So depends on what your value system is. Then we can talk about truth within that value system. Because maybe your truth and my truth are colliding. Maybe your truth is something I dare not do. Maybe your truth is something that is obscene within my system. So, one thing we must accept is that times have changed. And so, humans are trying to cope up with the changes. We have not adapted fully because, we would still want to live in the past where things were very traditional, where things were natural, where in terms of marriage, marriage was being arranged and people lived happily ever after. Even at present where we introduced love and now we said, I don't love him. How would you marry me to someone I don't love? Where we now introduce feelings to men and we said, oh, you must be vulnerable. It's good for a man to cry when he's facing difficulties. It's good for a man to go and talk to his woman about how his day was. So, at present, things have changed. And the earlier we adjust to this system, the better. But weirdly somehow, we are still stuck in how things should have been. We now look at that. Actually, the men look at it as heaven, while the women look at it as hell. And these are my thoughts on the two things I've said. The men, they said, I didn't have we never had the time to hustle for women, having to convince them to marry us, blah, blah, blah. No, it was prearranged. My dad and the girl's dad would make things out and then we would grow in love. And for the women, they are now like, we never had a choice by then. Whatever was decided was decided. And it never mattered whether I was feeling for this guy or not. But now they came and introduced the feelings. And now be real has to feel Abdul so that they can be in love and be one thing. So, the downside of the feelings, they didn't tell us, What they never told us is that feelings change. And what made me happy yesterday might not necessarily make me happy today. Maybe what made me happy yesterday was superficial. Now I want something deeper. Maybe what made me happy the other day was a fantasy. Now I want something real. Bro, many people are grappling with these things to an extent that even marriage seems not to make sense in the modern day, bro. Because people change. And two people, one is a man and the other is a woman. A woman goes into this relationship knowing that this guy will change. And then a man goes into the relationship knowing that at least this he does inadvertently, that this woman must not change, and it's not going to change. Lo and behold, the woman gives birth to one kid, and then the teeth sag. Oh, they are not pointy like they used to. Oh, the woman has gained weight. Ah, she's not petite and, can be thrown onto the wall, can be held into the kitchen like before. Oh man, the fanfare is now gone. I need me a fanfare. I need to live in that fantasy. So that fantasy disappears in marriage, bro. And now you have to really look beyond that fantasy for this marriage to stand. A lot of people don't look into that. And no sooner, let me not use that. As soon as the fanfare disappears, then now you start seeing the big nose. You start hearing the snoring, start being irritative, The smell, the armpit smell start being, bruh. So the modern day relationship, what we have failed to recognize is that, there's a plane passing overhead, man.
I'm out here cracking up, man, and I'm like, hey, Baba Aju, let me tell you something, man. Go for it. No, go for it. Sorry about that. Go for it.
What the modern day humans have failed to recognize is that times have changed and we are living in a different time zone than our forefathers. And they are not projecting ahead to see that even their siblings will be living in a different time zone than they are living in today, bro. And people are like headless chicken now. Don't know where to go, no direction. Like, the modern day relationship is on autopilot, bro. Whatever comes, let's roll with it. And while that might be an advantage, it is also a disadvantage because, remember, we of men, the women, are only loyal to their feelings. So for as long as you can make her feel better, you're gonna have her. And when that feeling changes, bro, you know what happens. The nagging, bro, when the nagging becomes too much, when the nagging starts, you better run, because that feeling has been kicked outside the door. And for you to rekindle that feeling back will be like climbing Mount Everest. But anyway, I don't know anything, so I will end it there.
Felix, I'd like to say it's extremely brave of you to pour your heart out here. Because the space is being recorded, right? And soon there'll be a review on what was said on there. I know for a fact because several of my spaces, regardless of whichever young man comes through to me and asks for career advice and I'm on a space, whichever young man comes up and starts talking relationships, there'll be a recording of Tato giving some truth based on his stance, and there'll be some sort of objection to what I have mentioned. But you know what? Such is life. Such is the world of technology that we kind of reside in at present. You always have fans all over the show. So I salute you, man, for your thoughts on that. I mean, everyone has to speak from their space of understanding and where they are, And I hear you. There's a lot of truth to what you're saying. It's crazy how we currently are living in an era where if you believe in God, you're a win. If you are married, you're a win. So we live in a very turbulent era, man, where man thinks he's in full control of everything. But yeah, in terms of, the untold truth, I still believe every man, Felix, has to trot on this journey and figure it out. You've got a brother here, Abdul, he's recently been married. He's feeling a certain way and has a certain form of understanding. You yourself have, I have, Sultan has. So I suppose it's a journey that every person has to trot for themselves and reach that realization for themselves. Because you must remember, there are individuals, and it happens to anyone, can happen to anyone. So no one is in full control, you know, uh, fully and always on that, head held high type of, what's this, reaction or standing. So in some situations, you'll find yourself being in control of a situation and leading. And in a different situation, you find yourself slacking in that. You have to lift yourself up. So I think everyone has to kind of trot on that journey, because Felix, the dangerous thing for me, I find you'll get someone who has failed at their marriage for whatever reason, for whatever reason, now being against that entire institution or that whole entire relationship. And now they'll assume that those that are doing okay in it, and whether they sacrifice, whether they compromise, but they are winning in it, are somehow, what's the word, are somehow way too compromised, are somehow losers within that space. So it's a walk that you kind of have to walk on your own. Like you can't, I honestly believe I can't tell you as Felix how to treat your wife, how to handle your marriage, how to. I can kind of tell you from my stance, and you kind of have to evaluate it. And that's where the issue is for me, is that especially a lot of young guys who are not even set up, and by set up I mean their careers, their lives, they're not even there, but already the headspace is thinking, something else. The modern relationship is complex, extremely complex, because in most instances, Felix, you're dealing with a woman that graduated from university. In some situations, you're dealing with a woman that's got her own career, has her own car by the time you've met her. Now there are guys who cannot deal with this type of woman. Those same guys are going around telling guys who are handling those women not to go there. You understand? So I know I'm going to be misquoted on this. I know I'm going to be misquoted on, because I know in a few days my voice will be flying all over the show saying, Tato, this is what a married man has said. But I still stand and say it's very difficult for another man to tell another man how to go about these things. You have to kind of walk the journey. And many have failed for whatever reason. Whether they were not mature enough, whether they'd not built themselves to a certain level, for a woman to respect you, it's quite vast. So you kind of have to figure it out on your own. You can take snippets from Sultan, Philip, Abdul, and whoever else, but ultimately, you have to kind of handle that. Because a lot of guys who are pissed off because their marriages didn't work, couldn't lead their women. Those women never respected them because those guys had not built themselves to a certain level and degree. And a woman's not gonna respect you if you haven't done that for yourself. Before you kind of engage her at that level. That's just the nature of the game. That's just the nature of it all. But yeah, that's my stance, man. It's quite complex. The modern relationship is complex. It would have been great, Sultan, to have heard some insights from the ladies I'll be told, he's running to mama. He's running to mama
You are
because I
why?
want
Why are
one
you
thing.
running to mama, my friend? Anyway,
He's running to mama. There he goes.
anyway,
Simply
Tato.
because, simply because I said it would be great to hear an insight from a lady. Simply because I say that. It would be so great to hear an insight from a lady. There he goes. He's running to mama. Man, it's a losing battle, Felix. Maybe
So
that's why you don't hear me on these spaces. That's why you don't hear me on these spaces as we previously used to. Giving insight, because I've come to a realization that, what, win in your reality, win in your reality instead of, shining on these spaces. Man. Because when you speak from your truth and your level of understanding, to some dudes out here, it's unmanageable. They can't imagine it. It's like a fairy tale. And obviously, nobody's got a perfect situation. Right? We all battling it out. Life is hard. Relationships are hard. Marriage is hard. Being a parent is hard. But when you mention how I'm tackling this situation, it's like, what? How? How can this guy handle this? How? He's puny. Nah, he's puny. You know, I don't fuck around with these kind of things. Right?
Tato.
But, yo,
Have you looked at it this way? Maybe your opinion gives them a clear picture of what they should be thinking about the topic that you are discussing. Maybe you are an eye opener to them. Why don't you take that thing from a positive aspect, my friend? Why would you always take it from, they are attacking you at your puny and all that? No, bro. Maybe these people are admiring whatever you're saying, and their show of appreciation is by belittling your input, so that
no,
it makes them build a better, point that can make quote unquote perfect sense. Man, I think over time I have learned to look at the positive side of even the negative thing, because
no, absolutely.
just like things have
Absolutely.
advantages, they also have disadvantages. So, and if you ask me, what people say about my speech has never been a bother to me. In fact, I've never cared one bit on how people react to whatever I said, because it means they are taking notes. It means they have internalized what I said. It means what I said was thought provoking. And now they have had a new dispensation that they should be talking over. Now I have given them a
Absolutely.
point, you
Absolutely.
know, to discuss, bro. Why can't you give yourself a pat on the back whenever you hear people talking about recording your space and then talking about it? What's wrong with you, man?
No, man.